Hey, my name is Mike, and in this video, I'll show you how to build your very own WooCommerce online store. This is something that is not nearly as difficult as people think, and by the end of this 15 to 20 minute video, if you follow along click by click with me, you will have a store running for yourself. You can sell physical products, digital products, services. There's so many things you could do with WooCommerce, and I personally have built probably hundreds of stores by now. And of all the stores I've built for myself and for other people, WooCommerce is probably the most flexible option you have. It's great for starting off as beginners because you can start off with a single product in your store, but it's also extremely scalable. This is something that massive companies genuinely use on a daily basis because it works so well and it's so powerful. So we have a lot to talk about in this video. Everyone can learn at their own pace though, because YouTube does have a tool. It's like, right, I'll show you guys in the edit. You can click on the little gear icon and play this back at 0.75x or 1.25x. So you can find the right speed for you to learn at. So congratulations, I'm excited for you to build your first online store. There are a couple accounts we're gonna have to set up to start with, the first one being the hosting. So let's head over to my laptop and get started with the hosting. So here we are on my laptop. I'm gonna start off by going to santrelmedia.com/WooCommerce. This will take us to Hostinger, which is our host. It's an affiliate link, so it costs you absolutely nothing extra, but it helps to support the channel and keep videos like this completely free. So that'll bring you to this page. It also gives you the best deal, by the way, on WooCommerce. So the cheapest way to get Hostinger, which is our hosting for WooCommerce. I'm gonna click on Start Now, and we have two plans here. If you have a more advanced store already and you're migrating over, you could always kind of weigh these two options, but I usually say for most beginners, just choose the cheaper of the two plans. The business one works just fine, so I'm gonna choose that plan. So then we can choose the duration of our plan. The only thing I don't recommend is 1 month. You can do 12 months up to 48 months. I personally prefer 48 months, but with 1 month, you get like a little setup fee. You have to pay for your domain and it adds up and you end up spending about the same as getting a 12-month plan. So at the very least, get 12 months. I really recommend 48 months because it's $4 a month compared to like $14 or $15 a month. And then it also renews at a higher price at the end of the 48 months. So you might as well lock in the low rate for the entire time. We can also add a coupon code. I think Santrel 10 should work. So we'll type that, apply, and we should be getting 10% off the entire thing at once. So there we go, about 20 bucks off. And we can get a domain now or later. For the sake of time, I'm going to see if we have one available now. It's also worth noting you can check other sources for a domain. So you can go to Namecheap, usually has them at a really good discount. GoDaddy is also quite cheap as well. And so if we find a domain on here, let's say I'm gonna sell, I don't know, Pilates stuff. I'm gonna say pilatesmike.com, see if that's available. And like we're gonna sell physical products, digital products, a little bit of everything. Yeah, it looks like it is available. It's free for the first year, like I said, because we got at least 12 months in the plan. And then after that, it's eventually going to cost I think $20 per year. Is that what it said there? Yeah. So $20 per year. If you go on Namecheap, you might find that same domain maybe for like $16 per year. And if it's worth it to you, by all means, go ahead and do that. And I'll show you where to connect it later in the video. I'm going to choose 1 year for now instead of 2 years, just so I have my total cost pretty low here. Let's close out of the pop-up. And now I can click on continue. So we're getting a domain and then we're getting 4 years of hosting. WooCommerce is going to be free. WordPress is free. The theme is free. The template is free. Everything else we're not going to have to pay for. And there we go. Now we have our hosting. I'm going to say get started. And now it's going to ask us a couple different prompts. You can skip these if you want. I'm going to skip this one. And here I'll say create a website. Now this is very important. Don't just click next right away. You need to remember that this is a separate login for WordPress versus the one we already made, which is for Hostinger. You can use the same password if you would like. I recommend using a different password. The one that they have right here is not the one you already typed in. They generated a password for you. So before you click next, very important, at least click on the eyeball button and copy and paste that. Otherwise, add your own password in here and make sure you write it down. This is very important. And now we have the option to either let Hostinger's AI build the website for us, and then we can of course edit it, or if we want to use a pre-built website or theme. I usually recommend going with a pre-built one. The AI is getting a lot better, so by all means try it, but I don't think it's quite as good as the pre-built templates yet. So click on Online Store on the top to see the ones that are relevant to actually selling stuff. And when looking at these, don't worry too much about the exact colors and font. You can change all of that. Just the overall layout is really what I look for. I'm going to go with this one right here. I think this one, even though the product is very different, makes a lot of sense for a general layout. I like how they have the products very near the top. So I'll click on this and click on continue. And then they recommend some plugins right here. You can search for other plugins. I'll talk all about plugins later on in the video, and I'll show you how to get rid of these if you don't like them. So let's say next. For the domain, I can select the one that is already owned, which again, makes it easier to have it all right here. We'll click on next again. And now we have to register our domain. In order to do that, make sure your contact details are correct, click finish registration, and then head over and check your email to verify that. You usually have about 7 days to verify your accounts before your domain gets recycled. And I know this may seem like, wow, this is a really long time just to get to the WooCommerce setup. But the truth is, this is doing a lot of it for us, and we get a huge head start then once our website is fully built with this pre-starter package. Now we can choose what server we're going to be using. Ideally, you want to have it as close to your target audience or your market as possible. So for me, the one in Massachusetts makes the most sense. This is just going to help with speed when people visit your website. And if you choose the wrong one, you can always change it in the future. And just like that, we are now on the WordPress dashboard. This may look a little bit cluttered, but I'll walk you through what everything is. For the most part, everything you need is on the left side. This is your onboarding page, which is in the Hostinger tab. But even though it tells us like, okay, we can add our store details, we can add our product and stuff like that, we're going to add all of that not through this, because in the future, this might not be popping up right here. And there's a better way to access all of that stuff. So I want to add our first products. And to do that on the left side, you'll go down to WooCommerce, and just below that, you'll see products. This is part of WooCommerce. WooCommerce, like I said, connects to WordPress, and they do all the product management for us. Here we have several products, actually a lot of products that they gave us as dummy products. And because I'm not selling those, I could either remove them right now, I could disable them, or we can make our own products and then later phase these out. So we're able to really manage what our website actually looks like using these dummy products. It's your choice, but I'm going to leave these here for now. I'm going to click on add new product on the top. You can see it right there. And we can start off by naming the product, adding a description of the product. Actually, that's a little AI box right there that'll write the description for you. Or you can just write it yourself down here. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of having AI write descriptions for you, but let's see what it does. Okay, it wrote a pretty long description. I'm going to keep that for now. But in this, one thing to note is that you are able to, change the text with the basic text editing here. You can make it bold, you can make it italic, you can add links in here. So if you have a blog post later or another product that you're talking about that maybe pairs with this product, maybe something that's required with this product, you can add a link to it here by clicking on the little chain icon there, just as you would add a link in any other text editor. I'm going to go with the regular price here of, I'm going to say $399. I actually don't know how much a reformer would cost. Is that expensive? Is that cheap? I don't know. But I'm going to say it's, maybe you can put it on sale right now. We're going to say it's going to be $379.99. And we can also schedule that sale if you wanted to. Below that, so going down these on the left side, we can add inventory. So you need to make a stock keeping unit. Actually, it's technically optional, but I usually like having them so you can track everything. I'm going to call this 10,001. And that way in your warehouse, you've got, different units that have different numbers, and it's easier for orders and matching up packages without having to match up the names. Numbers there's a reason companies use that. I'm going to track the quantity for this stock, and we'll say maybe in our warehouse we have 100 of them, and I do not want to allow back orders. You could if you want, but I'll leave it as no. We have currently a store-wide stock threshold of 2 where we get notified. For this one, I'm going to say 10, and we don't have shipping configured just yet, so don't worry too much about the shipping class. If you want to link other products, I talked about how you could add that in the description, but you can also have upsells and cross-sells here. So upsells would be if you were buying a regular model, you could say, hey, do you want the more premium one? That's an upsell. And a cross-sell would be, hey, if you're buying this product, maybe you're buying some heated socks and you also have, boots that go really well with the socks, then you could do a cross-sell recommending different products that go together. I'm going to leave these blank. We can add these later because this is the first product I'm adding. And there's nothing else I need to worry about over there. The slug is going to be what is at the end of your domain. So Mike or pilatesmike.com/ let's call this reformer. And then down here, the short product description. And in order to add images of our product, we're going to scroll up to the top and you'll see media or product image over on the right side. And we have both product image and product gallery. So we're going to choose the first image, the main image we want to show for this. And then gallery is going to be several other images that we may want to include here. So I'm going to choose files and I like this one. We can add some SEO details on the right side, such as the alt text, which is a little description about the image, something very brief. just to help search engines understand and interpret what the image really is. It's becoming less relevant, but it's still worth putting in there. Then we can add other products to the gallery, like I said, by uploading files, selecting files, and I'm just going to add all the ones we have. If you want, you can add product tags down here, but otherwise, I think we're ready to publish our first product. I'm going to click on publish, and we now have one product here. Now I want to add a couple more products. I'm going to do it off camera just because it is very repetitive, although I do want to come down here to the different styles of products as I make them. So the first one, we're going to have a Pilates mat. And for the product data, I'm going to choose this one as a variable product. And for product data, I'm going to select variable product for this one. This is going to be a product that has several different variations. So if I go down to attributes, I will be able to choose, say, color. We're going to choose the attribute is going to be color, and we can have, it could be maybe blue. And then I separate with this little vertical line. I could say sage green, and we can have a black colorway as well. I can save the attributes. And then below that, you'll see variations. And we can click on generate variations. We can say okay, and that's based on the attribute. So if I have 2 different sizes and 3 different colors, that'll give us a whole 6 permutation here. Because I just have colors, we have 3. Now for each of these, we can click on the dropdown, we can add an image for them, we can change the price for each individual one. I'll click on publish, and now we have our second product here. So now we have a couple products, but I just want to kind of highlight the different styles of products on here. So if you scroll down, we have simple product, which is going to be any product that has one style. Think of maybe a book, for example. We also have a variable product down here. As you can see, I think of these two very similarly. Variable product would be something that has different variations, maybe t-shirt sizes or colors, maybe reformer colors as I have right here. Things like that would be variable products. And for most products, this is a really common one to choose. Then we have grouped product. Many people get confused by this. This would be anytime there is a collection of products that go together into one group. So for example, I bought a chimney kit for a little wood stove, and it came as some screws, a stovepipe, and some different pieces all together as a grouped product. External or affiliate product would be a product that is sold elsewhere. So maybe you're selling birdhouses or bird feeders, but you don't sell bird feed. You could make an affiliate link right here and go to some other store that sells them and just refer people from yours to that. You'll get a commission depending on the affiliate program you're in. Then we have, if we go back to simple product, you've got virtual products, which would be anything that is not shipped. It doesn't have to be downloadable. It could just be virtual. So that means you could buy a 1-hour, hair salon session or something like that. Downloadable products would be maybe an ebook. You want to select both of these if it's downloadable because you're not obviously shipping, but it doesn't have to be. For example, if somebody maybe buys like a calendar from you and you're shipping it to them, maybe you also give them a downloadable version of the images that are in the calendar or something like that. So those are the different styles of product. Let's check out the one we have. Right now it says store coming soon on the top. If we click on that, I can make the store live if we wanted to. You don't actually have to view your site, but I'm going to do this now anyway. And then if we click on this, I'm going to hold down Command and click, or you can do Control click, and it'll open it in a new tab. So our website is built right now based on the template we saw earlier, but we can see our product is already added. If I click on it, we haven't done anything with this design yet, but this already looks quite good. You can see we've got different images of our product. It shows the sale price. We have a description. This is a short description right there. Down here is the longer description. Reviews are also showing up there as well. We could add our own review and that should function just fine. And we have our cross sells down on the bottom. The Pilates yoga mat, as I talked about before, is already there. And this one, being a variable product, has the options to choose sage green or blue. And I didn't change the images on these, but ideally you would have a different image popping up for each one. So we can get out of this by going to the other tab, or if you didn't hold Control or Command and click, you could just click on the WordPress button. That'll bring you back to the WordPress dashboard. Back on the WordPress dashboard, there are some settings we need to adjust. So if we go down to WooCommerce and we go over and click on settings, we want to set up our shipping, we want to set up our payments, and a few other things. So I'm going to enter my store details. You can put in your address, you can put in your shipping or your selling locations. We'll deal with shipping later, so don't worry about this right now. And of course, taxes down here. Consult with your local tax advisor and make sure you're charging the right sales tax. And of course, at the bottom, make sure you click on Save Changes when you add those details. Then we can go over to shipping and we can set up our shipping zones. Now, generally, it's easiest if you just make free shipping for a certain area, or flat rate shipping is another easy way to do it. So we can add a shipping zone right here. So if I click on Add Shipping Zone, we can call this Continental US. And I could just click instead of everywhere. We don't want everywhere. We're going to go down and say just North America, and it's going to be just the United States. From here, we can add a shipping method. let's say flat rate shipping is going to be easier. And I could say it's going to be maybe $4.99 for shipping. We can also add other versions. We can have local pickup, for example. We can add that as an option, and this automatically saves. So we have shipping set up, we've got our products. Now we want to set up our payments. If I click on payments, Woo Payments is going to be the easiest way to set it up. You could also just do PayPal. I recommend having as many as possible. There are other ones down here as well. So generally you want it to be as frictionless as possible when somebody goes to your online store. Now Woo Payments is going to, you can see, have a ton of options. So all the major credit cards plus Apple Pay, Google Pay, Klarna, Affirm, so people can even buy now and pay later if they wanted to. And all you do is complete setup, make sure these are all selected. We can show more and make sure these are either selected or not selected depending on where you are. Click on continue, and this will walk you through that process. Now, I'm not personally going to do it for this example store, but you would just walk through this and enter your details all the way through. Now, the next thing we want to do is go over to accounts and privacy and decide if we want customers to create an account. So we can enable or disable guest checkout. So if you disable it, people have to make an account when they purchase. We can also say you can log in if you want. So you have two options there. I'm going to leave them both checked. And we can have some other options on the bottom. If you read down here, there's just different things about how you manage your accounts. Then clicking on the emails tab, we have the option to customize the emails that are automatically sent. So when somebody places an order or when an order is completed, they'll get an email sent to them. And we can manage those. For example, new order, although I don't really feel the need to change this, you could change who is going to be sending it. So who the sender is, you can change the title of it. But generally the email, I think, looks pretty solid. They'll show you all the products. They'll show you basically just a full receipt, as well as the billing address and the shipping address. I think WooCommerce does a really good job of this, but you're able to customize it down here if you wanted to. Now, we have most of our store set up. I want to talk about coupons right here. You can see if we go to WooCommerce and then below that, coupons, as I just clicked on, which kind of brings you over to marketing and coupons. There's two places you could access this, and you're able to create a coupon in many different ways. It could be a URL, so rather than having a little code, they have to click on this. It could be a smart coupon. It could be a free gift coupon, personalized ones. There's a lot of options for how you can actually set these up. So I'm just going to say add a new one, though, for a really basic one. And maybe this is going to be save 10, and this could be save 10%. And we have different styles of coupons, and I get more into this into a really long WooCommerce tutorial. It's like a 1.5 hour tutorial. If you really want to know more details about, the little intricate things, you can go to that video. But for the basics, this video is definitely going to cover everything you need. So this is, let's say, 10% discount here, and we can say good with free shipping, no expiration, and we can publish this. Now we have a discount code that will automatically be applied. Okay, our store is looking really good right now, and I like to do all of these things before designing the store because now that we have this whole structure, designing is going to be an absolute breeze. Now, one of the big benefits of WordPress is you can get different plugins. So if you go down to plugins on the left side, we can add a plugin and we can search for plugins. One that I like to use is Elementor. This is free to use, and this is going to help us to design our website and do a lot of the editing with our website. So even though we already have a template or a theme installed, let's click on activate here, and this will help us to edit a lot of other pages or even the pages we already have. So on the left side, we can go to pages, and I accidentally installed a second theme, just went off camera there. I was just testing out some other looks, and that's why I have doubles. So don't worry about the duplicates here. You won't have that. But if I go down to the home page, for example, by default, if you don't have Elementor and you click on edit, it'll bring you into the WordPress editor, which is completely fine. You can edit your entire website just based on this. You can click on the images, you can change them on the right side. It's really not a bad editor anymore. WordPress has come a long way. But again, I like to use Elementor. It's a little bit easier to edit these things. So if I click on edit with Elementor, we can say leave. It'll bring us to the Elementor editor. And again, I have a full tutorial getting into the details of Elementor and how you can actually use it. But basically, it's a drag and drop editor. It makes it a lot easier. As I said, it's free to use anyway. All these WordPress plugins are free, but they always have like an upgraded version if you want to have like, a PayPal button, some of these more premium things you do pay for. But I find that most editing, all the stuff up here that doesn't have the little lock on it, is completely free to use and works really well. So I'm able to edit this entire site, change anything I want on here, and it's really quite easy to do. So again, tutorial on that is a different video, but Elementor, super useful, and I highly recommend it. So when we're done with this, we can click on publish. All right, so now we have our shipping, we've got our products, we've got our coupons, we've got everything set up, payments included for this website. WooCommerce is ready to go, and we're ready to start selling and marketing this website. There are many different ways you can market your online store, but I think the next steps now would be to actually go into the full site design. So there you have it. Now we have a fully functioning WooCommerce store. The next steps will be to edit the actual store design. I briefly talked about that in this video, but for a more in-depth guide on how to do that, I recommend checking out this video. I forget which side, either side. I'll put a video up here that is a full Elementor and a full WordPress tutorial so you can design your website to make it look exactly like you want. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael Bryan with Santrel Media, and I'll see you in the next video.